the final price tag is in for Jamie Noel's car collection.
He's the former Clark County sheriff in prison for money laundering and tax evasion, and the proceeds from that auction are going toward his $3.1 million restitution.
Travis Breeze has more from French Lick.
Well, day one saw 22 Jamie Noel cars sell for $183,000. If they wanted to get to their pre-auction goal of $1 million, they would need some big bidders and some flashy cars on day two.
All right, folks. Who wants to bid on a Jamie Noel car?
The hits came early on Saturday. This Dodge Super Bee going for $50,000. Noel's 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner going for $100,000 even, to a couple from Wisconsin who said they learned about Noel before the auction. Jared Franklin from Bloomington, who brought his kids to their first ever auction, bought Noel's 1959 Chevy Corvette convertible. What do your kids think? Are they enjoying it?
They're enjoying it. It's exciting for them.
And what do you plan to do with the car?
We're going to drive it.
40, 40, 40, 40, and now 42, and now 25.
Noel's 2018 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon with 238 miles sold for $160,000, and the first of two Plymouth Superbirds went for $162,500. In the crowd was the judge who gave the auction contract to Freegee and Freegee, Judge Larry Medlock, attending his first ever car auction.
I thought I was just astonished. I knew if it was in better shape it would bring more, but considering the shape that it was in, I'm very pleased with the outcome.
But they didn't let the judge stay in the crowd. Known for his gavel slams in the courtroom that broke a gavel block,
Today is that day.
They brought him up to finalize the sale of Noel's second Superbird.
The car is sold, $175,000.
Did you break it?
It didn't splitter like I thought it was going to.
And on that gavel slam, the auction passed its $1 million goal. An auction fee and fee for rehabbing the cars does need to be applied. In French Lick, Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will ever forget that moment of that gavel banging and breaking.
A new lawsuit has been filed in federal court against a number of people after the death of senior airman Roger Fortson last year. An Okaloosa County deputy at the time shot and killed Fortson at the door of his Fort Walton Beach apartment. That was May 3rd, 2024. Body camera footage shows Fortson answering the door with a gun in his hand, but he never raises it. Former deputy Eddie Duran then shoots Fortson multiple times. Duran was later fired from the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, charged with manslaughter.
I lost my lifeline. My baby was one call, that's all. He could feel when his mama needed him.
Sheriff's office, open the door!
Less than 2 seconds after Roger Fortson opened his door,
he had a right to the Second Amendment too, to protect his home, to protect his counselor. He didn't do anything wrong.
Tuesday, attorney Ben Crump announced his team filed this federal wrongful death lawsuit for Fortson's family. It alleges excessive force by former Deputy Duran in violation of the 4th and 14th Amendments. The suit also named Sheriff Aiden.
We believe Roger's death was as a result of a pattern and practice here in Okaloosa County.
But the final 2 counts of the lawsuit are not directed at law enforcement or the man who pulled the trigger.
It's not just blood on the hands of Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department. Roger Fortson's blood is also on the hands of the Elon apartment complex.
Fortson's family is suing Elon Apartments and one of its staff members specifically for, quote, repeatedly providing unverified and speculative information that led to the fatal police encounter, end quote.
False, reckless, and unverified claims made by a leasing agent who had no business playing dispatcher. It was all speculation, hearsay, and that speculation got a 23-year-old patriot named Roger Fortson shot and killed by the Okaloosa Sheriff's deputy in less than 2 seconds.
Crump says this is not policing, but rather an unlawful execution. Fortson's mom says just like Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Trayvon Martin, she wants her son's name to be remembered.
Once we forget and stop saying them, it's going to keep happening.
The NAACP is also demanding all police departments in Florida commit to training officers in de-escalation and other ways to avoid the use of lethal force. The organization is also asking the U.S. Justice Department to investigate the case.
Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. I always really appreciate it. We're going to start our day out talking about a sad story about a couple that should be out planting a garden this spring, but no. Instead, the jerk naval officer has been charged with murdering his wife months after her body was found strangled and beaten. A hell of a way to start out the spring. Okay, a U.S. Navy officer has been charged with killing his wife 6 months after she was found strangled to death inside a hotel room in Japan. Monroe, New York native Jessie Arguinzoni Olson was found dead on October 27th inside a room in the Hotel SOL in Fukuoka. Yeah, I've been there. It's true, you guys. But we called it something else when we were there. Just being goofy. It's true. See, we were in Sasebo, and then we had to go back up to Tokyo. And in between Sasebo and Tokyo is Fukuoka. Okay, sorry, guys. I hope that gets past the censors. I think we called it Yoko. That's what we called it. Okay, you guys. This is a serious story. About 80 miles from Sasebo. See, look, you guys, the naval base where her husband's a Lieutenant Commander Christopher Olson. I wonder if I met that guy. He was stationed between... Oh, no, I was there 20 years ago. Almost. 2022 and 2023. Okay, surveillance video from the hotel reportedly showed the couple checking in on October 25th and the sailor leaving alone 2 days later. At the time of the murder, he was stationed at the Naval Surface Group, Southwest in San Diego. Yeah, All right. Is there more about that guy? Yes. The Naval Criminal Investigation Service, which handled the investigation with assistance of the police in Fukuoka, have alleged Olson viciously beaten and strangled his wife in the hotel room. Freaking awful. The couple met at the State University of New York in Oswego and were married in August 2009. Jessie's sister, Dominique Arguizoni, told the Stars and Stripes that the couple seemed happy. Okay. In addition to the murder, Olson was charged with obstruction of justice as a preliminary hearing at the naval base there in San Diego. Olson enlisted the Navy back in 2014. He was promoted to surface officer last July, and he faces a possible court-martial as well, according to the site. And he's also going to have a dishonorable discharge, most likely confinement and or capital punishment. Whoa! You know what that means, right? That's what that means. Naval spokesperson Commander Paul Macapakal said the Navy was committed to ensuring the military justice system is fair and impartial, and they even do it in the Navy. All right. That's it for that story. Let's move on with the show.
Turning to a breaking update now in the death of Robert Brooks, the inmate beaten to death in a New York State prison in central New York. 3 more prison workers charged in his death were in court today to answer to plea offers, and they all rejected those plea deals. That includes one correction officer clearly seen in the video beating and gagging Robert Brooks.
This is the matter of people against Anthony Farina.
Anthony Farina in Oneida County Court in Utica today, rejecting an offer to plead guilty to murder in the second degree.
You wish to reject the offer? Yes, sir.
Farina is clearly seen in the body cam video showing the brutal beating of inmate Robert Brooks inside Marcy Correctional Facility. He was seen shoving a rag into Brooks's mouth and shoving his foot into Brooks's body. Robert Brooks died the next day.
The matter will be adjourned for filing the prosecution response.
Farina would have faced 18 years to life if he had accepted the offer in court today. Now he faces 25 years to life if convicted at trial.
David Kingsley.
2 other former COs were also in court today.
It's the matter of the people against David Kingsley.
David Kingsley also offered a deal to plead guilty to murder in the second degree. The judge warning him he won't see another deal like this again.
And that you may not see an offer this favorable again as we go forward. Do you wish to reject that offer today? I do, sir.
And Nicholas Kiefer,
Which charges you in a felony offense of gang assault.
rejecting a plea deal on a charge of gang assault with up to 12 years in prison. 6 correction officers in total are charged in Robert Brooks's death. 1 accepted a plea deal last week. Christopher Walrath pleaded guilty to manslaughter.
The 3 COs in court today are all due back in court again June 3rd. News Channel 13 will stay on top of this case. We'll continue to bring you updates.
The sheriff says that case took place in late December. Video shows corrections officer Christopher Jackson serving lunch to inmates. While that was happening, investigators say one of the men threw a cup of feces at Jackson. Video shows Jackson then return to the man's cell, then go in. What happens next isn't clear, but video shows Jackson shove the man and then appears to throw punches at him. The man takes off, and after a short chase through the jail, was caught and restrained. The sheriff says Jackson broke policy by not waiting for backup and not securing the unit, allowing the man to escape his cell. Jackson, who's worked at the jail since 2008, was fired but is appealing that decision. Sheriff Jack Hall says the inmate, whose name was not released, was charged with assaulting Jackson and served time. Now, Jackson's case sent to prosecutors too for potential dereliction of duty charges, according to Hall. The second case involves corrections officer Brian Tellier. In May 2023, Tellier is accused of throwing a handcuffed man he was escorting to a body scan against a wall. That man, Jeff Fry, says he suffered a broken neck and paralysis as a result. The sheriff found what he called conflicting statements in the initial investigation into the incident. So after taking office in January, Hall had his newly created Corrections Inspector General redo that investigation. Now, 2 years after the incident, Hall expects the findings to go to the prosecutor's office this week.
We've concluded what we believe could possibly result in criminal charges, but again, that's up for the prosecutor to take the final look and for the grand jury to come with the determination, if they come back with the true bill, for Officer Tellier to actually be charged.
And indictment, true bill, you're talking typically felony charges, right?
That would be, yes.
We're banging through the headlines like you know we got to do. We've come across a corrections officer who's been fired and arrested for the strangest thing. Theft. That's not so strange, but it says here the investigation began on May 8th when a former inmate reported that some of their belongings were not returned. Okay, Deputy Goofball, what are you going to do with an inmate's belongings? Well, either way, I guess she'll get her own orange jumpsuit now. Okay? You don't have to share one with that inmate anymore. Or whatever you were doing, whatever you were stealing. I can't imagine. What else do they have? They got a toothbrush. They got an orange jumpsuit. A shank. I don't know. Okay, let's get serious here. Bryan County, Georgia, the Bryan County Sheriff's Office has fired and arrested a detention officer after the investigation into the missing property. The investigation began on May 8th when the former inmate reported that some of their belongings hadn't been returned. After reviewing jail surveillance video, Officer Jaleesa Washington, she was identified as a suspect. She was suspended with pay. What? Come on. On May 9th, while the investigation continued, Sheriff's Office determined that Washington violated their policies and trust. We'll give her a paycheck for it then, all right? Let her sit home and get paid while she's watching the Bad Apple Report. Anyways, she's probably not the type that gets up bright and early in the morning, though. I'm just guessing. As a result, she has been terminated from her position and arrested. Washington now faces a charge of misdemeanor theft by taking. All right. Give her her own jumpsuit. And let's move on with the show.
A police car in your rearview mirror is not something drivers want to see.
I got 2405.
For some police departments, having officers hand out a certain number of tickets could be department policy.
Ticket quotas are detrimental to police work.
But now, Ohio House Bill 131 aims to put the brakes on the practice of ticket quotas. The Willoughby Hills Police Chief, Matt Nagley, told me he supports the bill, which bans requiring officers to meet certain ticket or arrest quotas. And he said most police chiefs are in agreement.
When we collectively heard that this bill was coming through in the state of Ohio, it's not like there was shock, or anybody was surprised by something like this coming forward. Quite frankly, I don't think many police chiefs are really too bothered by it, because most that I'm aware of aren't doing it to begin with.
I'm here to express my strong support for House Bill 131.
Robert Butler is the chief of the Independence Police Department. He is also president of the Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police.
Using an outdated, lazy matrix from the past is not something that's going to push us forward to the future to build community trust.
He testified in Columbus in support of the bill.
The Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police, the FOP, the OPBA, I don't believe anyone in law enforcement in this day and age supports a quota system. It's not good policing.
While traffic enforcement is part of a patrol officer's job, Nagley told me officers should not be handcuffed to quotas.
34.
And House Bill 131 will allow police departments to look to the future instead of the past.
You have to give your officers the tools and the abilities to go out there and do their job. They have to be held accountable to go out there and do their job and expected to do it, but they also have to have the freedom to do the job the right way.
Once the bill leaves committee, it then goes to the full House for a vote, and if it passes, then to Governor DeWine. In Independence, Tracy Carlos, News 5.
Okay, folks, it's going to be a beautiful day. I hope you have a beautiful day. Thank you for being here to watch the Bad Apple Report. I'm going to go make some music with my friends, and then I'm going to stop by Walmart and get some dog food on the way home. And we'll see you guys right back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. Have a great day.